3 to the 1 to the 1 to the 3. Greetings, everybody. It's Napalm Dawn from the Redux team. I just wanted to go ahead and throw out a quick video for you guys, as it is the beginning of the game again for a lot of people. People are beginners that play Redux. There are people who've never played it in their life, so they've never gone through this type of content. And there's people who played it very, very young and admit they perhaps didn't make the best decisions back in the day. So they want to get in touch with what is perhaps considered the right way to do things. Now, the right way to do things in this game is very subjective, as so many things are plug and play and essentially Lego capable. But I wanted to go ahead and give my opinion and some knowledge on some things. And by all means, discuss it down in the comments below. Keep it civil. And remember, this is subjective. However, this is coming from a great deal of experience, having played the original game back in the day and having had to restart through multiple betas along the way from the early alphas to where we are today for beta 6. So this video is going to be about my opinions on uniforms, and I'm going to go ahead and tackle half of the roster to make a quick video, and then I will do the next half of the roster in a different video. For the organization, we're just going to go through the pages rather than doing bruisers, blasters, infiltrator, scrappers, and tacticians, generalists, because depending on what uniform you're sitting in, it recategorizes things. So I'm just going to do it straight in order. So we're going to begin with Iron Man. And while beginning with Iron Man, I also want to highlight that there is an old blog from a community member way back in the day called Pot Kettle Black, or PKB, that can be found on the old wiki. If you do this search here, how I ISO, pick the blogs category, you will come across this, which has at least 69, 69 people listed over here, from Iron Man to Ares. There is also a solver out there that he used that uses macros in Excel, where you can plug anybody in and get what would have been the PKB solver. Now, before we use what he has here as an example, it should be noted that at the time when PKB wrote this, he was not taking into account stamina. Stamina was not really an issue in PvE because you had consumables that you could use to make sure stamina was up there. You could run agent gear, and you didn't really sacrifice that much to do that. In PvP though, stamina wasn't really that big of a deal until later. It was a nerf that was placed upon stamina to kind of crap all over the head of the Molly teams that were coming around at the time. So stamina changed in PvP. It became viable to attack somebody through their stamina, and stamina was not nearly as infinite in PvP as it used to be. So PKB's method is a little off. You may need to tweak it to your proper desire. So in this case, he says that Iron Man Mark 42 as a blaster is what he chooses, and going with 6 chaotic whites and 1 robust purple. Well, let's go ahead and follow that, because the game does throw a lot of chaotics at you. We'll leave 1 slot open for that purple. And overall, what PKB likes to do is basically say that his method is 5 barring health, attack and accuracy, and then 1 of the 2 defensives, defense or evasion. And in this case, we do get there with the stamina, so we are good. So that is his methodology. Pick the appropriate defensive stance out of the 2. Make sure your attack and accuracy are maxed out, because you want people to do damage. Accuracy affects crit and chance to hit. You need people to hit in order for them to be effective. And if you look at his rescue commentary, he even mentions that rescue needs those things too, because she's not just a do-nothing tank. So I wanted to point that out as we have this discussion on the uniforms. For Iron Man, my preferred uniform is Heartbreaker Blaster. When I can get this one, I use it. For those in the earlier parts of the game, Avengers Blaster is also really good, especially when running with other Avengers and the Coulsons. For Black Widow, Infiltrator Gray is very good because she does get both. The gray uniforms essentially are a hybrid of each other, where the infil is a little tact and the tact is a little infil. Infiltrator Gray is very good early on, but if you're running Avengers together for good tubs when doing PvE, or you're running them with a Coulsons, taking her up to Infiltrator Avengers is very good. Hawkeye, everybody loves. Tactician, Heroic Age Hawkeye, really good, absolutely great with the Master Marksman and the Loaded Quiver. He's one of the first uniforms you should get early on, even when your gold and CP are at a premium. He makes a huge difference, but eventually you can move him into a Infiltrator or a Tactician Avengers if you're running him with other Avengers, but overall, Tactician Hawkeye from Heroic Age is the best. This is a rarity for me that he is an Infiltrator and he's ISO'd, and that is because of a specific PvP season. Black Cat Claw Scrapper. No discussion there. Captain America, I prefer Captain Steve Rogers because he's a Swiss Army knife. However, that is not available, so the way to do it now is to honestly go with either Bruiser or Tactician World War II because he starts with Shield Guard. Tactician stops his vulnerability to blasters and gives him extra turns, but Bruiser is kind of what you think of for a tank. This one is up to your flair, but I think World War II wins out for quite a while. I don't bother taking him to Avengers because I'm not that crazy about the uniform, and I don't really care about him joining in with his friends the way that I do with IM, Hawkeye, and B-Dubs. Colossus, P5 Bruiser. However, people do make a good case for Modern because he starts off tanking. If you can stomach that, him not having it, then P5 is the way to go because of the healing, and eventually we all remember what happens when you pair up P5 Colossus with P5 Emma Frost Infiltrator, but that's in the future. Cyclops, definitely the uncanny version, but that is Season 2, so we can't talk about that. P5 Tactician. Daredevil, nothing you can do in Season 1, nothing you can do in Beta 6. However, I go right past Mustard Devil and go into Scrapper Sweats Devil. Doctor Strange, Tactician Defender. One of the best characters you can get in the game in the beginning, and absolutely one of the best uniforms you can get, worth spending on early. Hulk, Warbringer for the passives. What he adds to the team is massive amounts of damage. I basically like spamming his level 1 unless I want to open up for the Titanic Hurl for the stun. There is a specific season in PvP for Beta 6 where I think Bruiser, World War Hulk with his passives, is the way to go. I don't particularly take him to his Avengers uniforms for extra attacks, but Gray Suit eventually comes in and I think winds up being one of the winners. Human Torch, Blaster, Future Foundation. I'll refer to those as FF. So FF Blaster, clearly just his immense amount of damage potential as the Blaster is really good. Sue, Infiltrator FF. Him, Heroic Age, can't talk about it now. Shadowcat, definitely go with Scrapper Shadowcat. Luke, can't talk about him right now. He's Season 2. Mr. Fantastic, Infiltrator FF. Captain Marvel, I prefer the newest ones, which is Tactician Captain Marvel. That is Season 2, since that is not available. While I aesthetically like the original suit the best, in terms of original from the game launch, I do like Blaster original Miss Marvel. She's very bugged right now, but spamming Photon Blast will wipe people's faces. Nightcrawler, Infiltrator Swashbuckler. This is a definite upgrade. There was no real consideration to run his original one unless you want the 2 EISO slots later. When he's fixed and he's doing his bleeds, Infiltrator Nightcrawler is an absolute beast. Gene, P5 Blaster. White Crown was a bit of a scourge for PvP for a while when it came out, especially the Infiltrator version. I don't think the passives really mean as much on the white suit, even though it is a very pretty suit. I think Blaster P5 is the way to go, especially when you run her with other Phoenix 5 tunes. Can't talk about She-Hulk until Season 2. Sif? Honestly, don't get a uniform for Sif. When she opens up her 2 EISO slots, she's probably better without the uniforms and just getting Scrapper-related EISOs, because guaranteed critical hits first 3 rounds, it's not working right now if I remember correctly, and it's not really worth the 2 ISO slots over here, plus, gams for days. Spider-Man's a little interesting. I prefer FF Infiltrator for a while until Amazeballs opens up. However, once you start getting other spiders and you can start exploiting webs, and you can start doing his opportunity exploitation, which comes around eventually, Black Suit and Black Suit Bruiser is kind of interesting. There was a video that I wanted to do back in the day when the game was live using Black Suit Bruiser. Didn't really get around to it. I don't know if I remember what I was thinking of. But Black Suit is pretty good if you have other spiders who can put out more webs other than him. But, for the most part at this stage of the game, Infiltrator FF. Can't talk about Jessica until the next season, so we're going to skip her. Sue. Sue. Storm, Go Blaster, classic. This is a early uniform that is worth investing in. Maybe not over things like Heroic Age Hawkeye or Defender Strange. However, she will get it done. Good pairing with Thor and other electricity pieces of gear. Really good in some of the PvP seasons that have conditionals that she fits. I'll talk about those in the future. I need to wait one more week for that. Thing, FF Bruiser. I mean, he's kind of garbage overall, but FF Bruiser. Thor is another interesting case. I prefer Mighty Thor, which is not Season 1, but you're probably going to get really the best mileage out of him with Avengers Bruiser. This one gives you the opening of Mjolnir already being stacked. It's not, I don't think it's really worth it. I think the passives from the Avengers, where he can add attacks and defense to other Avengers and the Coulsons and everything, I think this is the way to go. Avengers, Thor, Bruiser. War Machine, clearly it's Pepsi. Clearly it is Pepsi. I don't remember what I thought about the original, which is Season 2 content, but you should take him to Pepsi. Tactician, to me, better than Blaster unless you're in the pesty seasons where you want a straight up killer and a lot of damage like early on and everything. But the Tactician with the possibility of getting more turns is better. Everybody wants Pepsi when they start playing this game. They want to go right past War Machine to Pepsi. It is the way to go. It is available now. I absolutely should get it and ISO it. Very good team ups with Iron Man, so he will help you get good tubs through early game content the way Thor and Hulk will do it, Rogue and Gambit will do it, Iron Man and Iron Patriot or War Machine will do it. Sif and Thor have some good ones too. But yeah, Pepsi, Tactician. Wolverine, Scrapper, Brown and Tan. Not really much of a consideration. However, when you face Infiltrator, Brown and Tan Wolverine in PvP, he is a nightmare. You got to watch out for him. Mockingbird, can't talk about now. Black Panther, can't talk about now. However, I will say that his original suit with the ability to get 2 EISOs is really solid. The passives of the other one, this new one, are okay if you think he might actually get hit, but if you're running a tank, You don't need the passives of this. It is really, really cool, and the team is creating a new uniform for season 3 of Black Panther, so we'll have to wait and see how that is. I think aesthetically speaking, it is nicer looking, but I think with the two EISO slots here, the original one's out. Scarlet Witch gets a little complicated. Stripper Witch is pretty to look at. However, original Scarlet Witch gives you 2 EISO slots, and she also has some decent personal ones. So you may want the flexibility of the original uniform, and I would say it's pretty recommended. This preemptively counter, it's okay. I think it is her Arcane Blast that goes off. It's good for a free conversion of her Hex Spheres into damage, but it's, not great. And then eventually you get the Age of Ultron ones, and as much as I don't like this representation of her and Quicksilver, I stand so against them and what happened to them getting declassified as mutants and everything, that I sort of hate the Age of Ultron Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in this game. I hate from the movie spills out into them. But during one of the betas, when this uniform was available, I will say I spent a lot of time with Blaster AOU switch, and it was kind of solid. Without EISOs, yeah, it's a good uniform. When EISOs come into play, I think you can make the case that the original Scarlet Witch probably is better, because you could use blaster ones and personal ones and not have to really make a decision between the two. So there you go, guys. There's my first half of the roster. My uniform ideas. Certainly go ahead and comment on them down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree, but I'm just trying to help out some beginners of the game that are looking to make decisions in this first week or two of playing the game again. Have a good one, everybody.